are, new episode. And so I have a couple of topics. I have actually one topic, and we'll see where I go from there if I'm going to go into the other topics. But the one that has been bothering me, again, it's for a future movie that hasn't been out yet. There's a couple of past movies I will talk about in the future, like I said already, and this is not to be like, oh, it's like baiting whatever. The Deadpool and Wolverine. Like I know already my review. I just want to rewatch it so it's fresh in my memory. And I think, but because it's on Disney Plus now, so I can rewatch it. I did watch it in the theaters. I want to rewatch it just so I can have like a new, fresh viewing. So, but and there's like a couple of other things. There's a couple of topics that maybe I'll bring up when I read the question of that might be a good question of the beast. I'm just gonna like list some topics, like like for example movies to review or stuff to review that I have watched, and then you guys can like maybe vote on what you would like to listen to. You know. But anyway, so we'll do this for later. So we're gonna talk about the upcoming Masters of the Universe reboot movie. Yes, there's gonna be a new one, and it has been quite some time. There was one live, and I'm talking live action movie, not animated. There has been one from the 80s, of course, with Dolph Lundgren and stuff, Frank Langella as Skeletor, and so on. I liked the movie. Yes, as a kid, I enjoyed it, but I always thought as a kid, well, it doesn't. There's almost no characters from He-Man. They basically took characters and changed them to the point where they became new characters. Like Gwildor was their Orko replacement because making a floating character that looked like a Java would have been expensive, especially the floating part back then, because if he's floating in every scene. Um, so, and then they didn't have Triclops, but they had instead Blade and so on. And some characters were merged together and so on. Like they had Beastman, they had Skeletor, they had Evil-Lyn. They had to have He-Man, Man at Arms, and Tila. Now the problem was it was a Golden Globus production, and Golden Globus was like, well, He-Man is hot shit. Although it was in the late '80s, and He-Man was pretty much dead. He-Man was a huge deal, and then it was like, let me see here. Um, when did it come out? Because the toys came out in like '82. Um, let me see here. Let me see here. This is great podcasting, of course, as we know. I'm gonna see here. Because this is not important for this, at least, before I get into the rant, but I mean, this is like how we do it here. So, um, okay. So, He Man came to be at 1982, the year I was born. Um, so I'm actually, when I grew up, really, if we're gonna consider, at least for my age, my thing when I grew up was technically Ninja Turtles, but um, I did grow up with He-Man because my brother and me we had He-Man toys, so I was like, you know, by the time like because you form your first memories around 3, so I remember my brother having the He-Man toys and so on. So we had like the main two castles. We had Snake Mountain. We had Castle Grayskull. We didn't have the what is it? The Hordax Castle, the weird with the worm thing, and definitely not in Eternia. I don't know if they even released that in Europe. That was the big thing, There's always a big item for these toys back in the day. Like it was like there was the what is it? The G.I. Joe. What is it? It's like the carrier, plane carrier, aircraft carrier. It was the aircraft carrier toy, which is humongous. They had always one item where like a playset usually. Yeah, for GI Joe that's the USS flag. For He-Man it was the Eternia playset because it was a huge like lion-shaped blue castle. It didn't look like the Eternal City from the cartoon, but it did look really cool. It had a like a rail like where you could like there was a monorail thing where a toy like could be, so it had where the toy could sit in and then you could like move the monorail remotely. The USS flag. Okay, there was these high budgeted things that almost no kid had for a toy. You know, like for well, okay. There was some that were more close to the price range. Like there was for if you're an 80s kid, you probably remember Tomcat. You remember Dino Riders? Like I remember Dino Riders being big, and Dino Riders had the T-Rex. Like these items is like basically your status symbol as a kid. You know, when you're an adult, it's your car or your house or your like the breast implants of your girl if you're that shallow. Uh, but it's it's like almost like a trophy wife. As I said, it's a status was a status symbol. And the T-Rex that was the most expensive. Like I had some Dino Riders. I had the Stegosaurus, and I think I had which was cool. I think I had one more thing. My friend, I had a we all have the quote unquote rich friends. He had more of them, but he didn't have the T-Rex. I knew one kid who had the T-Rex, and I remember he wasn't a friend of mine. We were in the playground, and he showed it off, and it was really cool. It could walk and everything. Um, and so the thing is that for He-Man, like I love the old He-Man, but I was almost a little bit too young to because I was born in '82, so by the time I had memories playing with it, it was like so it was almost more my brother's generation, which was also the Star Wars toys, which I also played with. So the He-Man toys, by the time the live action movie came out, let me see, the that was in 1987. He-Man, the original He-Man toy line was pretty much dead by then. Like I think it went from till 1988 officially. And that is the original toy line, the fantasy, sci-fi, sword and planet, whatever you want to call the theme. Basically, kitchen sink setting, and everything else. The point is that where I still remember them, and I did get a new. I remember because my brother he got the toys, and but there was one figure I remember my mom bought for me, and that's why that character has always been special for me because I did like him, and I was like, I chose the figure, and it was a Sky Clone, and that was the guy who could spin his entire upper body like a tornado. Now he was in the primary colors of red, blue, yellow. So and as it is a thing where small kids are drawn to characters in primary colors. That's why like Spider-Man and Superman have that too, and that's one of the reasons. As silly as it is, it's one of the reasons why their designs were popular too. Um, I liked him for his colors. I liked that he could spin. He had a little hologram thing on his chest, like a radar. And when you moved it had the little, early hologram stickers. It would change, like it would search for a radar. So I remember my brother actually getting. So I did still experience He-Man, so I was part of that too. And but then there was the later He-Man where my brother was pretty much growing out of toys. Um, well, not quite, but pretty much. But there was the New Adventures of He-Man that I as a kid didn't like because by the time New Adventures popped up, because New Adventures redesigned everything. Everything was gone. He-Man went to some kind of space world, and the only people who continued was He-Man and Skeletor because they have the biggest brand recognition. But in order to make new toys, new figures, also new like a new style of molds, they were smaller, and everything was just futuristic. Like there was like I'm sure there was still magic and whatever. Also, the animation was technically better because it was animated in Japan, so it was actual like continuous animation instead of the almost like Hanna-Barbera style animation that Filmation had. Anyway, so I as a kid um, didn't like that, and I was like, well, I didn't feel that's really He-Man as a kid. Now I think the designs are actually pretty cool. The problem is that it had the He-Man brand logo on it, and like it was He-Man, but he was like it's now late 80s, early 90s cool He-Man, and he's got like the ponytail, whatever, and but the short hair in front. It's very typical of that era, and he had like a simpler strap and his sword. It was like technical. I remember there was the toy sword that you could like the for if as a kid that it made sounds and lights, and it kind of looked cool, but it was like that's not the He-Man sword. And I even had that Orko costume from the real, He-Man for me. Like, but again, the New Adventures was I understand why they did it, and I guess it was somewhat successful, not even close to He-Man. And also the other thing was you had things like the Turtles, the Ninja Turtles, and once the Ninja Turtles hit, that was my toy. That was pretty much what I put my money into, so to speak, the little pocket change that I had. Um, but anyway, that's a little side tangent. As you know, this is the show for side tangents, so as you have expected. But let's talk about the main topic then, that I'm kind of avoiding because it's kind of a downer. Um, I have they have announced the cast. They actually started filming because the movie is supposed to come out in 2026. So I find it also a little bit of a warning sign that they're gonna rush this out, and I'm not happy with this. But let's start with the cast, the principal things, and then we're gonna start with the basic premise that has been announced. That's not a spoiler. That's what they announced. So okay, let me go here. I'm just looking for a page. I saved the page. Okay. Now they're gonna have this guy called Nicholas. So he's like a no name, but that's fine. He's just supposed to look the part. So Nicholas Galizine, whatever. Um, and I've seen, yeah, he's bulking up and whatever, but I've not seen a movie with him because probably it's like whatever teen romance bullshit that I'm not interested in. And I'm like, okay, but and it made I think he like dyed his hair blonde or whatever, but I guess it works like and I've seen now because I'm talking of the set leaks, the quote unquote leaked set pictures, which like at this point is there are they intentional or what? Because they're trying to gauge what the people want. Because at this point they could still change things, they could still to a certain extent, I think. I don't think cast members would be changed, but you never know with Hollywood. But I don't know about this guy. I guess in the set leaks he does look pretty good like He-Man, but is it hard to find a muscular blonde dude in Hollywood? Is that really hard? Like I know that nowadays it's not cool to be like, you know, Caucasian, let's say this cautiously in Hollywood, but although who knows now? Now could be winds of change, but this movie was in development before. This is because this movie has been in development hell. This is not this movie. There has been I'm gonna just say Motu. If I say Motu, I mean Masters of the Universe. It's just a short term because Masters of the Universe is a wordful. So there has been a Motu movie in development through different studios, and it's jumped through different studios because um, the license agreement with Mattel was like, okay, here is the license, make the movie, and they started making the movie. Like at one point, it was at Sony's, it was here and there. I think now, what is the studio that has it now? At one point, it was at Netflix, but it didn't continue on. And what is the okay the studio? Okay, this is also a bad sign. Well, it's MGM Studios, but it's Amazon MGM Studios. Let's not forget, this is not the MGM of the past. Okay, this has been gobbled up by the one of the big gigantic entities, amoeba-like entities. Just imagine our you have to just imagine our corporations like giant kaiju-sized amoebas that have no real. They don't have uh, a motivation other than just to feed and grow. You know, so but that's near the point. So they're one of the giant amoebas, right? And so anyway, this Nicholas Galitzine, he's basically like your typical like pretty boy and like Hollywood guy. So he colored his hair blonde, and they gave him like the hair is pretty on point. Like with He-Man, the whole Danish boy look, it like worked for the cartoons, and it's a little bit more a wilder style. Not too bad. It's more like the 2002 version, which I agree. There's like um, I am not. I'm a guy. I'm more and more getting to the point where I want it exact, but I'm never gonna have that. But this kind of the hair might be one thing where I'm like, okay, we can have that changed, not too much, and it has been changed, it has been done better with like something in 2002 because in the cartoon it looks fine, in the old cartoon, but like he just has this mid-ranged hair, it's like I used to have. So I guess his hair was dyed, so it works fine. Um, he looks somewhat. He's got a pretty okay chin. Like he's okay. I don't know how he's gonna act, because from the story, we're gonna talk about the story after I go through the cast, because that's one of the things that is a bad thing. Um, but yeah, I don't know yet. I have not seen any of his movies. He's like a 30-year-old guy. He's been in a couple of movies, but nothing too big. Okay, he's been in that Craft reboot. Well, I'm not gonna watch that. None of the movies I'd be ever interested in watching. They're like typical teen bullshit stuff that it's fine, it's just not for me. Oh, he's been in that Cinderella reboot where they had the Latina play Cinderella. Well, I'm never gonna watch that. Uh, Bottoms. Like, okay, there's nothing here. Oh yeah, he played the handsome dude, I guess, in that Idea of You, where he plays the young guy, 20-year-old, I guess, rapper, and then with a 40-year-old MILF, Anna Hathaway. Anna Hathaway still looks really good for 40 years old. When is she born? She's also 82. Nice. Okay, we're at that. But point is that I don't really care for most of these movies, and I haven't seen his television roles either. So it's like it's gonna be for me a new thing, and I don't think I'm gonna watch any of these movies because there's nothing interested for me. So he just looks like a generic pretty boy. He looks close enough, so I'm okay with that. I just wonder why they couldn't find a blonde, muscular enough guy. Now I've seen in the leaked shots that he is bulking up, so I think that's not going to be a problem. Yes, he's doing the training, eating the chicken and the broccoli. You know what kind of broccoli, what kind of chicken. It is what they do. They do the steroids. I mean, they have to still work out. That is like can't get around that, and they have to still bulk up with food, but they also take steroids. It's just what they do, and because you cannot bulk up that quick in like a year's time for filming. Like that's something in order to gain muscle on that level. It's just, I mean, there's even a limit that you can get at all. Even like you can be very strong, but for people now, it's like, oh, you don't have the insane muscles, which are not even natural. But I'm not even gonna get into that. It's He-Man, so it's fine. Um, I don't know about him. He's okay, I guess. He's supposed to be just big, tall, muscular, blonde, handsome guy. So they didn't ruin that. He's a brown-haired guy, but whatever. That's something you can fix. They did fix it. I'm just kind of surprised. I guess whatever his agent was like, this is going to be your big break. This is going to be your cape shit moment. After that, you can do your pretentious Hollywood bullshit that nobody will watch, but you'll get an Oscar or whatever, or attempt. Who knows what they told him. I don't care either way. I'm here for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and yeah. So let's go through the other cast. So this guy, I'm not sure. I never seen him in a movie. Um, so we'll see. We'll see because again, and that's fine. I'm actually happy that they got a no-name actor. The only guys that would be good He-Mans are they played already basically He-Man, like Chris Hemsworth or Liam Hemsworth. Like Chris Hemsworth would have been great, but he already played basically the original He-Man, Thor. You know, from Mythic Thor. I mean, technically it's a Marvel Thor, but whatever you know. And now he's in his 40s, so he's like too old. This guy is in his is just turned 30, but he looks very young, you know. So, you know, he's supposed to be, I guess, a guy in his 20s, whatever. But wait, let me see here. I have the cast list here. Okay, actually, there's one thing that I have missed when I checked out the cast before, but let's go by the order what they show on the wiki page. Okay, then they have Camila Mendes as Tila. Now, there's a big role in He-Man, very important. Um, I don't like it. Yes, I know. I know. It is the same thing. Not. Yes, she's also somebody who I don't know, of course, but she's been in stuff also where I don't really care to watch, which is all fine and dandy. But she's a Latina chick. Yes, she's a good-looking woman. I'm not gonna say that, but she's a Latina chick. Um, and what is Tila? Tila is a redhead. Okay. Um, I just feel like Tila has a very specific look, and there is actual actresses out there. Um, let me see here. So let me see here. I had something here. Because with Tila, like, I think that I guess it could work, but I don't like it. I'm just not gonna like it. She's a redhead. It's ginger side. That's what it is. And I'm just not gonna stand for it. And by ginger side, I mean I'll come up with a I did generate some music for that term, but I haven't been quite satisfied yet. So I don't want too much of this AI slop music. I want to have some, but ginger side just means like just look it up. It's basically how they're replacing white actors, specifically white gingers, so white people with red hair, like from like Ireland and whatever, the Celtic people, I guess, in Scotland and such. With they replacing them with black characters or like mulatto actors or Latino actors, usually black actors. Now here they were like, well, we're gonna go with a Latina actress. You know, I'm like, she's supposed to be a redhead. Now I'm sure they're gonna like dye her hair or give her a wig or whatever, but I don't care. It's not the same. Anyway, yeah. So I have here a list. I think I found here something that I was just curious. Is there a attractive redheaded actress that could play Tila? And yes, there are plenty. You know, like I couldn't find for the life of it a blonde, actual, not soy boy looking white dude who's actually someone muscular that is in his 20s. You know, I'm looking for basically Chris Hemsworth or like, I'm never gonna like, or something like Dolph Lundgren today, you know? Because yeah, because that's something they did really well in the old He-Man movie. They got fucking Dolph Lundgren right. The cast was actually quite good for the characters that were recognizable. And I actually, honestly, I do like the old movie because I've gotten to like the new characters, like Blade and such. But anyway, so there is like multiple actresses that could work, like maybe Sophie Turner, but I don't know, like maybe Catherine McNamara. But then there's then maybe also the chick from Outer from the what is it the what is Stranger Things? Yeah, the Sadie Sink chick. who she is gonna possibly play Jean Grey. That could work, but that's not what we're talking about. Um, there was some that wait, there was one. There's one. There's two that I've never heard about, but I thought were about right. I would say this one actress called Hannah Rose May. You can Google it, and or maybe Samantha Cormier. They're very beautiful. I found Samantha Cormier. She's very beautiful, but she might be too. I find her a bit skinny, which I don't find unattractive. But for Tila, now I don't want the roided freaking, which they at least they did that right, not the freaking like roid monster that they did uh, for the Revelations cartoon. They at least learned their lesson. So that actress is fine with that. But I think somebody who is more. I think personally Hannah Rose May would be probably the best because she has also kind of those cheekbones. She has this classical look. And I think also her body type, and just purely talking looks, would work for Tila, you know. So those are that I've chosen, but they went with Latina chick because that is the correct decision. Because you can't have too many white people. It's just not possible. Oh, we couldn't get Clamp Champ because he's a lame character. Yeah, here this is what's going on here because as we know, what I'm getting to with this movie, with the cast, actually, before we continue analyzing the cast, since we started the trend of we had already Ginger Side, so it's technically not a classic, and it's not even coming out. It's probably gonna shit, but it's a classic as in a franchise, as in a IP or whatever, or a setting, Master of the Universe. So it still counts. So
Go now, Yahoo! It's a bright, shiny day. And now it's time for what classic have the woke skinwalkers ruined today. What classic have the woke skinwalkers ruined today? What classic have the woke skinwalkers ruined today? Today's classic
is Master of the Universe, apparently. Possibly. Now, I'm not going to be completely unfair, but we have seen what they've done before, and that's an indication of what will happen here. So, yes, the Woke Skinwalkers. What classic have the Woke Skinwalkers ruined today? And the Woke Skinwalkers have possibly ruined us in before that. But anyway, just quick, I'll leave a link to the Twitter image that inspired me to come up with this term woke skinwalker. So it's not really completely what I came up with, but there's an artist. His Twitter handle. I know Twitter is kind of cancer or whatever, but there's sometimes some cool shit there. Guy's named George Alex Polos, cartoonists, and another guy shared it. I cannot find his first post, but I will put the guy's Twitter handle because he does a lot of very spicy satirical cartoons about current day bullshit that is going on, and often they're very hilarious. But this one is my favorite. Okay, so I'll leave a link in the description, and it's basically I'm just going to describe it here in an audio form, which is kind of lame, just quick so we can understand what it is. There's the first image. There's a nerdy guy, and then there is a very jaunt, very like already you can see from the back it's like a weird looking He-Man, but it's like he's all messed up somehow. Like his skin doesn't fit very right for some reason. But he says, "Greetings, consumer. It is I, your favorite childhood franchise." And then the guy looks at quote unquote He-Man, and it's this horrific vision of the skin flayed off and somebody's wearing him, and it says, "What is wrong? Come closer." And then the skin is lifted up because it's a costume, and then you can see Kevin Smith, the traitor with He-Man, and then you can see other characters like what's her name? That woman from Disney Lucasfilm that has been ruining Star Wars in the Chewbacca suit, and then somebody in the back with Captain America, and so it's like very very poignant, very to the touch, and showing like how they use these old franchises to lure you in, and then either they want to bring in their own fan fiction, their own with their own Mary Sues, which are their own like character inserts. They want to like or push their political agenda by like neutering the male or whatever, and then the women are really strong about the black people. It's let's talk about the issues of race in a fantasy story that has nothing to do with reality and is completely insane. But let's talk about current day politics in Star Wars, which is literally in a galaxy far, far away, in a time long ago. Basically, completely just a different thing, But this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about, the woke skinwalkers. And I'm going to show you the link so you can look at it. It's kind of messed up, but it's also hilarious. It's a very good image telling you what this is about. Now, again, Twitter image where it's shared was another guy, but I'm also going to share the link to the artist. He's got other images so you can check it out and enjoy. Or not, but this is a woke skinwalker. So, and anyway, so it doesn't have to be a woke skinwalker. Skinwalkers just and generally people who don't care for a franchise. It just happens to be been happening a lot with like woke people, like or people that have like some kind of agenda and they want to push and they don't care for the original character. Like Sam Raimi, he actually wanted to do Spider-Man. He loved Spider-Man. He didn't care about anything else. He said, especially he loved the original, the early issues of Spider-Man, and that's what he did, and he did it really well. And so Richard Donner, he liked Superman, and he didn't want to put in any agenda or anything. He just said, well, we're gonna play Superman, like the '50s Superman, but he's gonna be, or like somewhat also the '40s Superman, but but he's gonna be in the late '70s, in the cynical late '70s. But anyway, so on. Point is that that's what I'm talking about. So it's the woke skinwalkers. They haven't. I gotta say, I gotta be fair. The movie isn't out yet. We haven't seen a trailer. We have seen some images, but I'll tell you why I see that I have not a good feeling. Okay, and it's probably I'm gonna be right. I'm not gonna say it because you can never. If I'm wrong, I'll be the most happiest. I'll be a happy camper. I'll be like, whoa, we're gonna have a live action E-Man. It's gonna be great. But let's continue on with the cast. Okay, so we had Mexican Tila, not a fan of. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. Like she's an attractive woman, yes, but Tila is a redhead. She's got pale skin. She's a redhead. Get over it. She has the specific like classical beauty with the high cheek like the cheeks, whatever. Like, you know what I mean. The point is that um, next actor was Alison Brie as Evelyn. Now look, I've watched what is it, Alison Brie. I mean, she was in. This is an actress that I'm actually familiar with. So she was in a couple of things. I think I might have seen, but I think movie-wise I haven't seen her anything. But I have seen her in Community. It was a TV show about these guys, these losers who couldn't get into another college, any other college, so they got into community college. It started out pretty cool, and it had a pretty cool cast, including Chevy Chase, who left the show, and that's kind of when the show really tanked for me. Like it has Joel McHale, which hit and miss, but the point is that I think she'll be fine. She has the look. I'm just talking looks wise. She can act well enough. She's an attractive woman, and with Evelyn, it's a little bit. I'm a little bit more loose because she technically has like yellow skin, and I mean like literally yellow, almost poison green. So if she actually will have the makeup, she'll probably have like a makeup that is slightly yellow. It's not going to be exactly like in the cartoon. But she's actually one of the actors who I was like, okay, that's good. That's good. I'm not worried about that. Unless they make her an independent woman, which they could. Well, I don't need Skeletor. I'll be the real evil, like they did for the Revelations cartoon. And I haven't even seen the other 5 episodes or the Revolution second season or whatever sequel series. I haven't, but I know that that's kind of the story. I might watch the other episodes to shit on here. take a huge dump on them. That's the only reason I'll do that. But anyway, so we're gonna have the other actors. So Alison Brie's gonna be fine. You know, she's an attractive woman, and I can see her totally as Evelyn. And I hope they actually gave her a close costume to Evelyn, and you know, we'll see. It's probably going to be something like from 2002 or something from the Revelation, like something like that. You know, we'll see. Um, and here's the first cast member that I am really not happy with. Well, here's one that I'm not happy with because I don't know. Some people will say, "Oh, whatever," but Jared Leto as Skeletor. Now, actually, from the list here on the Wikipedia, he came before, but whatever. I'm not. I skipped him like instinctively. Now, some people say he's a really good actor. Now, I haven't seen his more serious roles. I haven't seen a lot of his roles. So he was in American Psycho. I don't remember him there. He was probably one of the corporate douchebags, which I'm sure he can play well. Um, and he was in Fight Club. Now, to be fair, I've seen Fight Club once. I really liked it. But that's a movie you can almost just see once, you know, for how the movie is done, you know, and you know what I mean when I'm saying this. But I'm gonna rewatch it because I really do need to. And I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for Jared Leto, but probably his role wasn't a big role either. Um, how to Make an American Quilt and whatever. And Thin Red Line, okay, that's one I want to watch for sure. Requiem for a Dream, that's one I am interested in. Don't know if it's gonna be good. I hear it's like really fucked up. We'll see. Panic Room, Mr. Nobody. I don't know. Like I have not seen. I might have seen. I think I've seen Lord of War, but again, I don't remember. Jared Leto has a. I don't know. I just the thing. All I can remember him is the shitty Joker. Okay. Um. He was in Blade Runner 2049, which I did like. Again, I can't remember him. If I can't remember you, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. He probably just played some generic villain. I don't know. Like maybe he's like I know because I did argue with some people, but he just fucked up the joke. And maybe it's not even his fault. And maybe in the Zack Snyder cut, I hear that his Joker has been better in the dark shitty future. Oh, he's a musician too. Like I don't know, he just has this douchey kind of face, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe that's gonna be good for like. He's also too skinny because Skeletor's got to be muscular too. Like I don't know. Like and how is this gonna fit? Is his face actually gonna be a skull? Or is it gonna be like he's gonna be Kaldor, and then at the very end, in the final teaser, he'll turn into Skeletor? Uh, or is it like his face is gonna like morph when he's fighting into Skeletor, but when he's talking, he's Kaldor? Some bullshit like that. I really hope they don't do this, but I could see this because FaceTime. Because, well, when he's a skeleton, then he cannot have lips, and then people will question that. It's like, people will say this. There's gonna be people who say that they are fucking Motu fans, Masters of the Universe fans, but then they're gonna complain, well, this is too cheesy, man. This is too cheesy. It should be like Zack Snyder from Dark and Gritty. You know how we call these people? Here's your next favorite segment about these specific people. What do we call these people, fellow listeners? We call them.
Do 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 no. Do do dee beep beep beep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some people are annoying. Some people are so dumb.
Great pipe work, my friend.
So guess who's up first on a silver platter? That's right, not you. The worst turd burglar of the day.
Yep, these people are the worst turd burglars of the day. Like it's like one like just giant like slob, like a big blob of people, right? So that's the kind of people we're talking about. Okay, it's like Angry Joe. Angry Joe, he saw the new Superman trailer. And I'm not going to say this new Superman is going to be great. It could still suck for different reasons, but I did enjoy the more comic accurate colors, that it was more colorful, that we're going to get more characters. But then he says, "Oh, maybe it's gonna be too cheesy. Maybe I like the gritty, dark, depressing Man of Steel version better. Oh, Superman gets really angry and his eyes grow red. I'm Angry Joe, guys. I'm really angry. Fuck you, Angry Joe. Fuck you." Like, anyway. Uh, whether they people catching stray bullets. Anyway, I'm not happy for it now because Jared Leto. I haven't even seen the Morbius movie yet, but I've seen the memes. Yes, I haven't seen the Morbius. Now that's gonna be some other. I have seen the first two Venom movies. I haven't seen the Morbius. Now the Sony Spider-Man verse without Spider-Man, the Sony Spider-Man villain verse that has Dead, and one of the worst cinematic quote unquote universes ever, other than the completely failed the Dark Universe, which is for different reasons. Now that's a topic that could be for future. I could review those. I haven't seen Raven the Hunter or that fucking Madame Web. 'Cause they look bad and they are bad apparently. So yeah, what a surprise. I'm not Jared Leto. I hear he had some good movies where he was really talented as an actor. So maybe he pulls his thing out of ass. If Skeletor comes out and he's got some bling in his teeth, and he says like, "Why so serious?" or something, I'm just gonna leave the theater or something. Like I'm gonna just fucking, or he's gonna say like. I'm not your daddy, Skeletor. I don't know what he's gonna say. I don't care. Like fucking, I don't know. He is kind of a wild card. He's probably gonna be in the toilet, you know. His depiction of Skeletor, and that's gonna be important because Skeletor is essential. He is the core villain of He-Man. Yes, there's Hordak, there's the King Hiss, but Skeletor is the big bad, really. Yeah, technically Hordak is more powerful because he's got like his space fleet, and he taught actually Skeletor. But Skeletor is really what you think. He's the oldest, and he is the arch nemesis of He-Man. So it's going to be extremely important, and also usually the villains are more interesting. So if Jared Leto does some kind of stupid ass spin, if he's gonna be like the misunderstood villain. Now I know that there's different origins for Skeletor. Originally, he in the original mini comics, which was kind of a really different world for He-Man. That's the first 5 issues. That's its own separate thing, really, where He-Man was more like a caveman barbarian. He saves the sorceress, who looks like Tila but in her cobra suit and has snake skin. And that's the sorceress, and he saves her from some monsters. And he's already very strong, but he doesn't have his armor. He just has the loincloth. Then she gives him the armor and the axe, which are science-based super weapons and super armor, which give him extra strength and powers, but it's through sci-fi means. Then he meets there is no Eternia, like Eternal City. Man at Arms is like literally a guy, and it actually fits his figure really well. He's a guy collecting junk because this is like a post-apocalyptic world, and he's collecting like technology from the past and refurbishing it or changing it or rebuilding it. And they fight Skeletor, who is a being from another dimension, a demonic humanoid being, and has conquered many hundreds, thousands of universes, and he's trying to conquer this one, and he's trying to open a gate to let other beings like him that look like Skeletor, at least from the back. We haven't seen their faces. Beastman is somebody who hired. He also looks different. He's like fully red. There's also Merman and stuff. So the origins, it's very different. It's actually cool. In some ways cooler than what they came up with later with the Clark Kent thing or whatever. He's just He-Man. He's not Adam. That shit came to be when DC made the comics because let's do what we did with Superman. And then I think this comics inspired the cartoon, which added its own stuff. But then again, it didn't have Orko, and I'm a big Orko fan, so gotta have Orko, right? So, um, let me see here. I had a little Discord thing, so I'm not re-recording this. No, I'm just gonna go. I don't have the time or the nerve to do this. I think it's still going fine. Anyway, I'm not happy with Jared Leto, but we'll see. We'll see. I really hope he's gonna be skull fed. I really hope he's gonna, because Frank Langella was a very good Skeletor, and whatever they say, all the critics they agree on that. Now they criticize Dolph Lundgren's team. I think he was fine. The biggest problem was that because Golden Globus decided, oh, we got this huge budget for the movie, let's slash it in half and make a bunch of other shitty movies. And then, in order to save money, we're gonna have most of the movie take place on Earth, and we just have the Eternia set. So it's all bullshit anyway. But still, it's still a good. It's a classic to me. And it's become its own thing. They had also now, like, they released now because they, in the toy line after the movie came out, there was a new wave for He-Man, and they released some of the characters like Blade and I think the reptilian robot looking dude as a figure, because they were cool designs, and they added them to the mini comics lore, which is the most expansive lore world, and Gwildor. But in recent years, they have also released a Dolph Lundgren Master of the Universe movie style figure. But I think his head mold is actually closer to classic He-Man. But anyway, I think he has two heads you can interchange. One is more like Dolph Lundgren, one is more like classic He-Man. But it's cool, and it's still cool. It's still a cool movie, and because the guy who did it, he said, "Well, I didn't grow up with He-Man, but I do know something that's very similar to this, which is the New Gods, with Orion and Doomsday." And he said, "Well, I'm just gonna basically use this and basically imagine that this is the New Gods, and that's how he's gonna write the story and do it." And that's how it was. Like, He-Man was the stand-in for Orion, and Skeletor was Doomsday, or no, Darkseid. Sorry, and Doomsday. I was whatever. Darkseid, the guy. And the sorceress became like the Allfather, and so on and so forth. The point is that that was a cool way of doing it, and it became its own thing, but still close enough to He-Man where it was good. Um, the point is that I'm not happy with Jared Leto. Let's move on. However, Jared Leto, again, he's probably a better actor than I give him credit for, but he had some really big missteps, which could be not his fault. It could be like they gave him a wrong direction, whatever. But he's also got a punchable face, so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's the motivation that He-Man punches him in the face. I mean. Anyway, we had Alison Brie already. Then this is the next one that I'm really not happy with, and I don't care what you say. Idris Elba as Man at Arms. No, 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 no. Man at Arms is not a black dude. Man at Arms basically is Tom Selleck, likely looks wise, okay? Middle aged Tom Selleck. Man at Arms is the middle aged, like, experienced guy. He is in the cartoon universe and also in the later universes, he's the guy, the weaponsmith of the Royal Palace. As I already said, like, actually, Man at Arms, the original toy and also the character from the original mini comics didn't have a mustache, but they did add later a mustache through paint, I believe, when they because Man at Arms was like released multiple times, and the earliest they have no mustache, they might be actually more valuable. The later ones, they added a mustache, but anyway. So Man at Arms is one of the most important characters. He's basically like, technically, Adam has King Randor, but Man at Arms, he's one of the few people that know Adam's secret, that he's He-Man. Other one, it says so in the fucking intro. This is like He-Man was one of those intros where it explained to you the basic plot. Orko knew, and of course the Sorceress, and Battle Cat / Cringer. Yeah, and that's it. And Man at Arms was also the father of Tila, or the adoptive father of the adoptive father, because yes, I'm like spoiling if you haven't seen it, but the people who know He-Man know Um, the sorceress is actually the mother of Tila, but she doesn't say it in the cartoon. And this is actually one of the better episodes. And yes, that's something in the Kevin Smith movie that they have actually based the story upon. The problem is that it's still a bait and switch, and it's still bullshit how they did it. And they made Tila basically like the lesbian war man beast, like ma'am. I don't appreciate that. So um, because yes, I know the jokes with He-Man being gay, haha, yes, yes, haha, he wears pink and such, So the point is that where He-Man in the lore, he does marry Teela eventually. Obviously he tells her who he is, but he does eventually marry Teela, and they have a child who becomes Hero, and he becomes the hero. Well, that's his heroic name. He has another name, but and that would have been the original sequel to He-Man, which was being set in Master of the Universe in pre-Eternia, where I think they time travel to the past where they have dinosaurs. Some toys were released, the giant characters, but only in Italy, because at that time He-Man was dead, and that's when they did the futuristic reboot in the late 80s, early 90s. But that I already mentioned. Anyway, Idris Elba, like, oh, Idris Elba, he's so great. He's like the ultimate Gordon Goodbrother. He is the wise black dude, whatever. I know he's actually probably a good actor. I think I've seen him in some good things, but um, he's basically just, for the most part, wise black guy. And in Hobbs and Shaw, I didn't mind him because he was like the villain, and I think he also didn't mind playing something else that he always plays. Now, oh yeah, of course, in Dark Tower, which they have also again switched because the characters, because whatever. Um, Again, I might be hating on him too much. I guess he wasn't Prometheus, but I didn't like Prometheus not because of him. He was in Star Trek Beyond. Don't remember him. I haven't seen American Gangster. I hear this is like maybe better movie. But anyway, I don't know. Yeah, he's also voices Knuckles in the Sonic movies, which is fine. But it's like, can we please stop race swapping and also gender swapping character? Can we please stop it? I know this is like an old fucking thing, whatever. But this is apparently a 200 million movie. This is a big budget movie, so I don't know what they're thinking. I'm not happy for it. Like whatever, because oh look, he's got a mustache and he's a wise guy, so like he's gonna be a smart guy. I'm not buying it. Not buying it. Okay, I didn't buy fucking Lord Greyskull in the cartoon. How they made him black. Lord Greyskull is the direct ancestor of He-Man. He basically just looks like He-Man in a more barbarian outfit, Viking barbarian outfit. He is who the castle is named after, not a black guy. Okay, so I know some people might say, oh, whatever. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Idris Elba, horrible choice. It's gonna bug me, and it's just gonna bug me. Now, Sam C. Wilson, some guy again who I don't recognize, is gonna play Trapjaw. Okay, apparently he was in Game of Thrones or whatever. He doesn't have a wiki page, so that will tell you something. It does have the ID. Pretty much every actor has an IMDb page. He was in the Blade Runner 29. Oh, there's a 2099 TV miniseries. Okay. I know there has been a couple of like animated Blade Runner shows that play in different times, like filling in the gaps between 2019 and 2049. Anyway, some other TV shows. Oh, okay, he was in House of Dragon, which I haven't seen, and I probably won't watch either. A bunch of TV shows that I have never watched and probably never will watch. So I don't care. But apparently, he looks just like a generic douchey guy you would imagine. Like some generic douchey, like either he could be in somewhere in England or somewhere in America in some kind of hillbilly like a trailer park. I think it's gonna work for Trapjaw. Um, I'm gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting for him because I don't know. He's like I don't know, but could work. Trapjaw, somebody who's also like has different like he's got like weird like what is it? Oh, he's got a green face. So you could like here you could actually cast somebody else, I guess. Like there's no indication, what he was before he became green, or maybe he was always green, but he's got like blue skin and like green face, whatever. But we'll see how they're like. They're probably gonna make it more edgy, dark and edgy, somewhat at least. But anyway, I have too many fucking tabs open, but you gotta keep it on one tab. So we have to get through these fucking casts. It's just a cast, but I'm gonna burn maybe some really fast. So this is also another thing that I'm not happy about. I don't get it. So they have this guy who was in Game of Thrones, this really tall, like Scandinavian muscle guy. Now he looks like a He-Man figure, right? Hafþór Julius Björnsson. I mean, his DNA is like 100% inbred Viking. Like his ancestors were like fucking. Like I remember in the Game of Thrones, he was fighting the spear guy, and it was like such bullshit. Like he should have destroyed him. I mean, I guess he's faster, or whatever, but um, so he's just like tall. Now, everybody thought he's going to be Beastman because he should have been Beastman, especially if you're going 2002 where the shapes of the characters change. Like Beastman is much bigger, much bulkier, and you just have to add the fur on him pretty much, and you got Beastman. You know, but he's going to play Goatman, a really obscure He-Man character that even I didn't know about. Let me see here. Goatman. Now, he actually has kind of a cool design, but this is the first movie, and we got to have the core people down. Now, so far, we're pretty good with who they chose to show. Um, he was in the Golden Books. He didn't have originally. He didn't have a toy. Okay, number one, that's a big, big no-no. You got to have, very simply, you're going to have the characters from the first wave of toys. Those are your characters. Nothing more, nothing less. Because you have too many characters, and it's just going to. Because I like to have more characters, sure. I want to see more obscure characters. But, like Goatman, he's just going to be awesome. Like, he's not going to have a big character. He's just going to be a. They put him in Revelation for some reason. And they have made now a figure for him, but in the classics line, but he just was in the gold. Listen, he was in one of those. It was one of those children's like books, picture storybooks, and I'm like, that is too obscure. Not I like obscure characters. Don't get me wrong, but they were for some reason they decided not on Beastman. They said because all the other characters are basically uh, from the from the season one He-Man cartoon, but also the first line of figures, pretty much for the most part. There are characters that are well known. Now they're gonna have another black guy play Triclops. And it's again a guy that I don't Kojo Ata. I don't know him, which is fine. I don't care that he's fine with unknowns. Sometimes I prefer that, but uh, again, like the skin from Triclops, he maybe has a slight tan, but they found another black guy to play Triclops. I'm like, if you really needed a black guy, you could have Clamp-Champ. If you're gonna have an obscure character, have Clamp-Champ. I know maybe, oh, it's not a cool name, it's not a cool character, or put in Sunman. I know he was made as he's a separate character, but he was made by now that's some really deep lore, not directly, kind of indirectly Motu, but um, in the 80s, a mom was like, a black mom because the kid says, why isn't there no He-Man figure that looks like me? And then she was like upset, so she decided to make diverse action figures, which is fine. And she made Sunman, who was this guy who was like apparently more powerful than anybody else, whatever. And she made a couple. There was a couple of other figures of like everyone was like there was an Asian guy. There was like a guy called Hypnos. Some figures didn't get released, but they were also sized in the style of He-Man. And back in the day, He-Man was so popular, you had many ripoffs. All the popular toys had ripoffs. GI Joe's had ripoffs. Transformers, obviously Barbie, whatever. All of them had ripoffs, and He-Man had a lot of them. And they're actually kind of their own thing. And they all were made to be in the same size as He-Man because the idea was if a kid liked He-Man and they're same size, even if they knew, well, that's not real He-Man, but you could have him as like an enemy or as a friend. And kids came up with their own lore anyway, which I did too. Anyway, it's not neither here nor there. They could have, but then they would have to separately license Sunman. Who knows who owns them? But they actually released a new figure for Sunman for the one of the newer He-Man toy lines. So I'm like saying that if you really want to have black character, then use Clamchamp or Sunman or something. But also this obsession with we have to have the United Colors of Benetton or something. But okay, I'm not happy because I do like Triclops. He's got a cool design. We'll see. Now here's another one. Monica Baccarin. She was the only thing I know her in is Gotham. Oh yeah, okay, she was in Firefly, which I know a lot of the Turd Burglar fans like, but I thought it was decent, a decent show. But they're like, why didn't it get 4 million seasons? Um, it had the movie, which in some ways I preferred, but it was also like trying really hard to be this, because they say it's a space western. I'm like, kind of, yes, sure, it has that setting, but also like it doesn't feel that much of a western anyway. It's an okay show, but it's not my favorite. Like, it's not this thing. Well, yeah, well, I'm not surprised it got canceled. Honestly, like, um, I would have preferred something more like Brave Star, or whatever, or Galaxy Rangers or some, but in live action. Now maybe it was a budget thing, but maybe we have to be down and gritty, down and gritty, down and gritty, blah 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 blah. Anyway, oh yeah, she was in the Deadpool movie. She was the girlfriend, which I'm like, okay, fair. Alice in Deadpool and Wolverine, yeah, but fine. Homeland, I haven't watched. I won't watch. Whatever, I don't care. And I knew her from Gotham mostly. I haven't watched all of Gotham yet because it was on Netflix, but then they removed it. That's a show I actually enjoyed for to some extent, not completely, because as the show goes on, I really feel like with Gotham, because it's the Batman show without Batman, and I'm like, can we stop with that? Can we really stop with that? It's the show. It's the prequel to the show. Here is the origin of Jimmy Olsen. Here is the origin of Cat Grant. It's a TV show. It's connected to the Superman mythos, but it's just Cat Grant, how she becomes an independent woman, and she's really great. There's no gonna be no superhero stuff because that's gay and lame. I mean, have you seen Smallville? I mean, yeah, they do some superhero stuff, but somehow everybody who ever sees them dies or they lose their memory or some bullshit. And he never wears the costume because costumes are gay. Not even for 5 seconds or whatever. Who cares? Anyway, I know, sorry, that's fucking Tourette's ranting there. Now look, Monica Baccarin, yes, very, very, very pretty lady. Yes, I agree with that. There's no question about that, but. Um, Now the sorceress again is the mother of Tila. Do you see a pattern here? Tila is a redhead. Now Monica Baccarin and the Latina chick could basically play like the mom. I mean, she's not that old. She's like what 45. She's a little bit older than me, but still. I mean, technically, if Tila is supposed to be 20, then yeah. But anyway, so I think she could portray the character, but she just doesn't look it. The sorceress looks pretty much like Tila, And when you see her without her hawk costume, or like falcon costume, whatever, it is she has red hair. So, or okay, I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna just be very, very like just to be fair. Okay. Okay, I guess she was also in the New Adventures of He-Man, which does make sense because they had an episode where he returns. But yeah, she's got red hair. I don't care. She's got red hair because she's the mother of Tila. So I know a big spoiler there. Whatever. You know, it doesn't matter. Um, it just doesn't work for me. Okay, just doesn't work. I'm sorry. They have plenty of 40, 50-year-old, middle-aged, good-looking, red-haired women that could have played. Okay, actresses. Who could have been a better? I'm just gonna look it up now. I'm just gonna look because I did it for Tila. I'm gonna do it for her too. Now, okay. No, 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 no. They have to be no, 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 no. This list was ridiculous. This list was yes, actual natural redheads. You gotta be kidding me. Nicole Kidman, for example. Yeah, Nicole Kidman could work. Yeah. Um, but whatever. Okay, Monica Marina Baccarin, not the worst, but still bad casting. Bad. Now here's a new one that I haven't seen in the announcement because probably it's just going to be a smaller role, maybe a cameo, but it's going to be another big muscular Scandinavian guy, which actually fits with He-Man. So I think, let me see here, Icelandic guy, so like Viking dude basically. Um, dude, okay, even has the beard. This guy, Johannes Halkor Johannesson, playing Fisto. Now, Fisto's got red hair. He's got reddish hair, yeah, a little blondish reddish hair, and he's got the beard even because I think he was in Vikings, whatever. Dude, okay, fair enough. You got like two, you got one perfect cast, fine. Even a blind chicken finds some seeds, and you're gonna have Fisto too, so the fisting jokes ahead. But still, I like Fisto. Fisto's cool. He actually had a cool episode in the cartoon show where I think he was kind of a villain, but then he learns his lesson. But it's kind of a cool show. He's like a loner in the woods, and he's like misunderstood or whatever. But it works. I think it's good. And then He-Man, like he has an adventure. I think, and I don't know about the 2002 show because I have watched most of it. I'm gonna rewatch it, but I want to finish the original show first. Um, I might skip the new adventures, but at first, but I'm still watching the original show. I'm in the second season because as a kid, I haven't. Guess what? Most people have not. Even their favorite show, you haven't watched all the episodes. I've seen some episodes of He-Man as a kid. I had, I had one or two on VHS. I had definitely one. Um, and the same with Thundercats and whatever because shows they wouldn't show all the time or you weren't allowed to watch TV, whatever. Point is that I'm watching them now. So, um, okay, so this Johannes Hauker Johannesson as Fisto, um, that could work. I could see that. They got another Viking dude, but then we need fucking Halfbor Joris Bjornsson as Beastman. Okay, fucking bullshit. I mean, the Gaming Beast. I mean, you gotta have Beastman. Okay. Yes, technically he was in the '80s movie, but he never talked, and he looked more like Grizzlor. He didn't look really like Beastman. Beastman is more of a red ape. I mean, how hard is it to get a red ape suit and just spray it red? You have $200 million. Come on, people. Now, here's another character that might actually be a good choice. Okay, we're gonna just put this in the front. I have too many tabs. James Purefoy as as King Randor. I can see that because basically the problem is with the He-Man, at least especially the cartoon designs, a lot of them were just copy paste the designs to reuse a lot of the same animation motions. But um, I think he's a good actor. He's a very good actor. I think he fits the look. He's got to have the huge Tom Selleck mustache, and he's got to bulk up at least somewhat too. Okay, got to have the Tom Selleck mustache and the crown and the red outfit. I'm not going to accept it. The one thing I do remember from him where he was, which was really good, was Solomon Kane, and that's one of the best uh, Robert E. Howard adaptations, I would say. It's the only one too, but it turned out to be really good. Rotten Tomatoes score of 67. You don't know what you tell. Rotten Tomatoes is a bunch of they're the biggest turd burglars. We had already the intro for turd burglars of the week. Put in especially the professional reviewers, most of them. Not all of them. There's good ones out there, but most of them there is okay. Fucking Princess Bride versus Willow. For some reason, whenever I bring up Willow as a fantasy movie from the 80s that was really cool, probably the best one from the 80s, it's up there with the first Conan movie, and Kroll and whatever. But fucking Willow is is they will bring up the Princess Bride. There were some people at least, but they were not really. They're like normie tiers. Well, I like the Princess Bride more, and that has like almost 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, where Willow has like 50 or like 48 or something. Like you don't know what you're talking about. Now, Princess Bride is a fine movie. It is, but I have started to slightly hate it because they brought it up multiple times. Because it came out about in the same time, the late 80s, I think. Uh, and that's why they compared it. But Princess Bride is a fairy tale movie, and it's not even that great one at that. It's fine for that. It's more like a Scarlet Pimpernel kind of movie, and also for that, it's not great. It's more like a romantic comedy in that sense. Okay. Um, but Solomon Kane is a great movie. 67% is a fucking crime that it's that low. If you ever like Solomon Kane, this is great. James Purefoy really gets it of like playing the tortured Puritan soul who's trying to redeem his own soul by fighting evil. And it's actually I gotta rewatch that. Actually, I think I have it on DVD because it's really fucking good. If it's a more obscure character because most people just know Conan from. It's not his most obscure character, but it is more obscure. Actually, Marvel adapted all of the Solomon Kane stories and the poem. There's a few that he wrote, not that many, but because when in Savage World of Conan they would adapt anything which was kind of similar, just trying different things out, that was either made by Robert E. Howard. I think they didn't adapted everything, but a lot of things, and they at least tried, and also similar, and they did. Again, I have the collected all the Solomon Kane comics, the Marvel comics. I think they made later new ones too. They might be good. I don't know. I haven't seen them. Um, but anyway, I think he's gonna be good. Okay, so I'm gonna just list the only ones that I'm happy with so far. You know what? We're gonna go on through. Um, Charlotte Riley. Again, I don't know because they're probably not gonna have. But then again, from the story wise, they're gonna have at least somewhat of a role. So I don't know about her to play Queen Marlena. Again, attractive woman. I guess it could work. She could have this royals with the high cheekbones kind of look, whatever. But she's a redhead again, I guess. And they could have a redhead. I don't know about this one. Oh yeah, this is also new to me. This is great. John Shu, I think Shu. I don't know how they say it in China. The Xue. John, I think it's Shu Zhang. John Shu Zhang. As Ram Man. Okay, so apparently This guy is like not very known. He doesn't have a wiki page. He probably was in a bunch of Chinese kung fu movies that I never heard about. Of course, they're not gonna do. What is it? They have Asian. They have actually. They have two Asian characters at least from the original. They might have actually. They have three, but at least two that came out in the original toy line and cartoon line. Now, Fisto, a lot of figures they would have at times counterparts to each other, right? They would have a good version and they would have an evil version. Fisto, because his gimmick was that his arm had a spring and he had a big fist, so you could like wind up the arm back and he could like punch, and then you could set up a figure and then he could punch, right? And he had also a sword. Now the counter to Fisto was Jitsu. Yes, it was a Asian dude who had a golden, instead of a fist, he had a golden hand that was like, like a karate chop hand. And understandably so, because of, because it is what it is. It is more yellow peril kind of thing. So they'll never will do Jitsu in live action. Hell, they barely put him in anything. Because even back then, it was like, I think he was in the cartoon, uh, but I think he did, but he did get a toy in the 2002 line. Wait, yeah. Well, they didn't brought him back because like it wastes. I think you could do him. You probably just couldn't call him Jitsu. You know. Um, you would probably have to call him like something else. Make a fantasy name, like just call him G or something. Um, maybe change his look a bit. But then again, like. But so they have now. That's neither here nor there. I can get it. But so they have this guy play Ram Man. I mean, I've got mixed feelings about it. 'Cause Ram Man technically is a white guy, I guess he is, but Ram Man, and the guy's pretty muscular. I don't know, like Ram Man, he's probably not gonna even. Who knows if he's gonna talk? Because Ram Man is literally his thing is that he's an idiot. He's an idiot. He's got like the Juggernaut armor, because his gimmick was you could spring load his you could push him down. He had a very different mold. You would push down his body with his legs, and then you could release it, and he could like then ram. His body would like pop up. Um, yeah. So I don't know about this one. I still don't like it because it's still race swapping. I don't know. Like this guy. Oh, has he been? Oh, I guess he was in the Eternals, which is a great sign. Well, I guess they decided, well, we gotta throw in an Asian guy too. At least. We have two black guys. We're gonna have an Asian guy. So Ram Man for some reason couldn't have Jitsu. Now, if you wanted to have a Asian guy, and I'm sure they would have a problem with that too, but what I would give big plus points, and that's a character from later, because okay, whatever, Jitsu, whatever, fine. But Ninjor, okay, when I was a kid, okay, because Ninjor came out late in the toy line, and by that time there was a big thing coming, not just also with Ninja Turtles, which was obviously ninjas, and American Ninja and all the other movies, and then ninjas were everywhere. And then they said, well, we got to have our own ninja. And I remember Ninja, and it was cool. He had a katana, which actually Jitsu had too. He had a bow, which looked more like a techno bow, which is fine. But the coolest thing was he had a nunchaku that was like, I think it was even made out of metal or something, but it had a chain, an actual little chain. And as a kid, I thought that's the coolest shit ever. And he was a fucking ninja, so he was like a pretty much a classic black ninja costume, but he had red gloves and red boots and like red like stuff on his chest, like a dragon or something. You could argue, well, you wouldn't be good for sneaking. It's He-Man. He-Man is retarded. That's what makes it great. So just walk with me here. This guy, again, race swap, but we'll see. I don't know this guy. Apparently, he was in the Eternals. Let me see where he was. Okay, he was in Craven the Hunter. He was probably just like Asian villain number 669 or something. You know, like I am John Chu Shang. So whatever. And then of course, who hasn't remembered Susie? I mean, Susie is like infamous. I mean, forget about Orko. Forget about I don't know, like fucking. Okay, Mossman is. I mean, Mossman is too obscure. You know, I mean, he was in the cartoon, I guess. You know, but what about Mechanic or whatever? But Susie, nobody could forget Susie. Okay, a black American stand-up who literally has put her like fist to the side, like literally, I imagining her saying, "Ah, white people, and I'm a black independent woman." She's got a big afro and whatever. Um, Played by Sashir Zamata, Susie. Now, and then another guy, Christian Vonipola as Hussein, whatever. So those two characters, of course you remember Susie and Hussein. Of course, I had Susie as Hussein as figures, and they were my favorite. They were my fucking favorite. Forget Sky Clone, forget Roboto, forget Modulok, you know. We don't need Arco. We need Susie and we need Hussein. Okay? We need them right now! Forget He-Man. We need Susie and the bitches of the universe. Okay? And maybe He-Man if he shows up for 5 seconds. Okay. So anyway. Um anyway, it talks about development, how at one point John Woo would have been directing. You know what? I That was in 2007. That was in 2007. Okay, apparently it wasn't greenlit, but John Woo directing it, I think would have been cool. I think he would have done it right. But they reverted. Then they went to another person, and then John M. Chu, whatever. They bring these weird fucking. Dolph Lundgren actually talked about possibly being King Randor. Now that would have been fucking cool. Anyway, of course that didn't happen because they're idiots. Although, anyway, so the cast, I'm not happy with the cast. I'm just gonna say that James Purifier is pretty cool. Johannes Hauker Johannesson as Fisto, good choice. Alison Brie, pretty good. I don't know about Nicholas Galitzine, maybe good, maybe. Everybody else is pretty much a tier of shit. Some are bigger tiers of shit than others. They're just bad choices. They might be great actors. Some of them are, I know that, or at least good enough actors that can do different roles. Yes, Idris Elba is a good actor. I agree, but he's not for man at arms. Okay. I'm just not gonna accept it. Just like I do not accept Norman Osborn. Now they're gonna do what they're gonna do because that's what they do. You know, the rights holders. This will flop. Then they're gonna use millions and millions of dollars, and then they're gonna again forget about He-Man for another 10 or 20 years, whatever. You know. Because anyway, so I'm not happy with the cast, and I'm also not happy with the director, Travis Knight. Let's do the screenplay thing. Now, this is not a deep movie. This is fucking. This is like big muscular dudes with lasers and swords and vehicles and big monsters fighting each other. You know, punching each other's face. That's what I want to see, and I want to have it accurately directed. This is like for late Generation X, early millennials. This is our thing. Okay, for some people it was GI Joe. I actually thought the first two GI Joe movies were not bad. They had some good in it, you know. So this is the guy, and I reason how he got this role probably because there was this movie, as I said, went through development hell. There was multiple studios on it. There's multiple writers, multiple scripts, multiple directors. Now, this guy Travis Knight, okay, He's born 1973. Now, when He-Man hits, he might have been like, I think he would have been 11, which, to be fair, he might have been a little bit too old for He-Man already at 11. Okay? But maybe not. I don't know. I still played with action figures till I was 14. So, and maybe, you're still technically a kid, sure, but I don't know. Maybe he was doing other shit, or he thought He-Man was lame. I don't know. But he made the movie Bumblebee, which I have seen, what I thought was charming. It was good. It was originally was supposed to be a prequel to Transformers, but then it became a reboot, which I think was a good choice because the Michael Bay Transformers, they just are doing whatever. I haven't seen the sequel to Bumblebee, which is the Beast one with the Beast Transformers. But I'll probably just rewatch because I think they have it on streaming, both of them. So I'll rewatch Bumblebee again just to give him like what does Travis and mostly he's done animation work. So he's done like Paranorman, Box Trolls, Cubo and the Two Strings, and then Bumblebee, Missing Link. It's all animated movies. It's just fine. So he's made like one movie that also features lots of animation, Transformers movie, one live action movie. And then he's made a couple. He worked on a couple of movies where he was the animator, Coraline and stuff like that. So I guess because he's made Bumblebee and Bumblebee was well received. Well, here's another an old 80s thing IP. We're just gonna throw over to you this little thing called Masters of the Universe. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Is he actually into He-Man? Was he into He-Man as a kid? Or is he just in it for the paycheck? It's a big franchise. Even though it's anyway. So, and the story. I know I just went through the fucking cast. I know this always takes longer with Beastcast. That's what you're here for. So, story. This is the premise that they give. Okay, get puckered up, people. It's gonna be a rough ride. If the cast that I've told you hasn't scared you away, then probably this will. 10-year-old Prince Adam crash lands on Earth, separating him from his power sword. The power sword, okay, but whatever. His power sword. There is only technically one. Early on it was like two parts, whatever, separating him from his power sword. 2 decades later, he takes his sword back and takes on the mantle of He-Man as he battles for his home planet Eternia against the evil forces of Skeletor. Now, they're doing it again. They're doing it again, either to save on budget, probably that too, but also so he could like bring in whatever Zoomer beta slang to bring in, like if he starts going like if he starts flossing when he defeats somebody or says skibbity toilet or something. I'm just gonna fucking like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fucking launch like a rocket into the moon, through the moon, and then I'm gonna crash into Amazon MGM Studios, whatever. The guy who's owned Amazon, Lex Luthor, apparently. Because I can't. I just can't take it. Now with Sonic, people say when he did the flossing, well, he's a kid and it worked. It's fine, and it was set in that time, whatever. But it's Sonic. And yes, by technical definition, He-Man is half Terran, so half his mother is from Earth. King Randor is from Eternia. She was an astronaut that landed on Eternia, okay? And instead of going back to Earth, she fell in love. She became queen. They had Adam. So, fine. And sometimes in the cartoon, he would most. My mother told me about this game they would play on Earth called bowling, and then he would bowl the villains away, which it's cheesy humor, which is part of the thing. But here it's gonna be like, I got your Riz man. It's like he's gonna be playing Fortnite. I guess he's in his 30s, whatever, but probably he's gonna be in his 20s. So get ready for a Zoomer slash Alpha generation douchebag. I swear, if they bring up something like Skibbity Toilet, I'm just because it took me so long to get to the premise because the image that I will share painfully probably on the Beastcast teaser is one of the images that they from the scene that they filmed because it's a scene that is on Earth and the image is what is it? Where is it? Okay, I gotta X away all these things. I've got way too many tabs. I went tab crazy. Anyway, like literally they're like miniature now. So um, finding a tab under a million tabs. Finding the tab under a million tabs. So, come on, where are you? I know this is great podcasting. Anyway, so okay. Oh, now I find it when I gave up. That's typical. So, the scene that they were filming, there's two cops, a guy, slightly nerdy looking guy, whatever, but a guy, and then a fat chick cop, and they're like holding him down, they're arresting him, and she's holding the sword of power. So instead of getting a cool like first image, you know, like an official like image of He-Man in his outfit, this is how we're gonna see He-Man first. Now Adam, I see the guy's been bulking up, so it works. You know, it's fine. I'm gonna curious to see him in his outfit, in his armor, whatever, in his loincloth and so on. But he's wearing the pink shirt, like he's wearing jeans shoes, you know, but like an actual pink shirt, like which you know has been there was a style where guys would wear pink shirts and a white T-shirt emulating the Adam look from Eternia. So this is what I'm guessing the movie's gonna be like. Now, number one, why do they do this again? The one thing people complain about, one of the things that people complain about, one of the thing is that they didn't have as many characters from the original series. They didn't look as much like the characters, and also they were missing a lot of core characters. Okay, that were not in the movie, but that was different, like technology limits, budget limits, and because of the budget limits, they slashed their own budget to make other movies because that's going Globus for you. They decided, okay, we're gonna have this plot line where they get transported to Earth, so we don't have to build another set, which is a lot of money. So you're gonna have the plot line, and they're gonna interact. They're gonna find these two humans. One of them is what is it? The chick. Okay. Again, I gotta open the fucking thing again. I gotta find the '87 movie page. Okay. So they find Courtney Cox as Julie Winston. I'm reading the wiki. I didn't even remember it. And then what is it? Courtney Cox, and then they had still. Where is it? Oh yeah, Robert Duncan McNeil. I didn't know his name, but he's from Voyager. And he actually played one of my more favorite characters from Voyager. Now, that's her boyfriend, and he famously, in the movie, they travel through this device that Gwildor has, a dimension portal opener device, right? And basically, in the movie, like Skeletor leaves them there and destroys the technology on the device, and he says, "Well, Gwildor could fix it," and but then he says, well, I cannot find the frequency. And then he says, and this is a very 80s moment where, well, we'd have to get the right frequency, but it's hard to get. We have to get the right tones. And he says, tones? Man, I'm a musician, and I have this keyboard here. We'll hook it up. We're traveling back to Eternia, baby, with my keyboard skills. And I was like, just get a fucking skateboard and attach that. That's even if you want to have it even more 80s. But this was actually really cool. I liked it, And even as a kid, some people think it's cheesy, but it's cheese. It's Masters of the Universe. This is what you're looking for, right? So, they had a storyline to save on budget. So most of the movie, the beginning of the movie, it's pretty cool looking actually. They're in Eternia, their version of in Castle Grayskull. They're fighting and whatever, but you barely see anything from Eternia outside. There's like one scene where you see like Skeletor. He's in a hologram form, his head, talking to the people of Eternia, saying, "Oh, you're all." Everything else is in the Castle Grayskull, which it looks cool for what it is. It's redesigned, but it still looked cool, very 80s fantasy movie like, so that's fine. But instead of having other locales, they decided slash the budget. So anyway, okay, fine. But this was in the past. It's long dead, whatever. Now now we have a second chance here again, and it's not going to be. It has. Why isn't it fully on Eternia? The only Earth scenes I might want to see is Queen Marlena having it's like she remembers her past when she came to Eternia on her spaceship and she landed. That's it. Okay? That's all I want to see about Earth, and it's also future Earth where we have like fashion and light time travel. So it's not like today's Earth. Okay? Because I don't know, because apparently Queen Marlena is not going to be a space traveler now because um, it's going to be ruined anyway. So um, yeah, I'm not happy with this plot synopsis now. This is like I'm fucking like mining this shit. Just a fucking a couple of images and a plot synopsis and a cast, but it's still already I can smell the crap forming literally. Um, I can just smell it, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy. This is gonna be a mess. As much as I want this to be good, I do want this to be good. I don't want this to be bad. I really don't. But okay, the character that I was joking about, like very subtly, was Susie and Hussein. They're gonna be his real world friends. And what is gonna happen probably? Okay, it's gonna start on Earth. There might be a little scene where they have something where he's a kid, and then they have Skeletor, but he's gonna be Keldor, and it's gonna be like fucking Superman basically. His parents, because now Marlena, she's not gonna be from Earth, or maybe she is, I don't know. She got here accidentally, but they're gonna use a dimensional portal or a spaceship, probably a dimensional portal in this case, who knows? And they're gonna send him back to Earth where he's safe. And actually, that is the story for Blackthorn, which would be a really badass movie. Now, you know what? An actual cool Blackthorn movie. Uh, if you don't know what Blackthorn is a game with video accelerated graphics that was released on DOS and Super Nintendo, and it's a quote-unquote cinematic platformer, and a run and gun, a little bit shooter, but it's really cool because it was made by Blizzard, and this was in the time where it wasn't just all like Warcraft and Diablo and Starcraft. This was when they were trying different things, and this was actually cool because in the storyline there's this fantasy world with orcs and shit. Well, they don't call them, but they are Warcraft orcs, literally. And in this fantasy world, they have like um, basically there's a big war and whatever, and in order to like to save, I think the humans lose, but in order to save their prince, they send him to the Earth dimension where he's then he grows up, and then he returns to that world, but this time he's got a fucking shotgun and apparently a lot of ammunition that you don't see. But whatever. In the game, you fight the orcs. I think they have guns too, so apparently they have developed guns there too. But whatever. It's actually a really cool game. I played it through. It's tough, but it's fair. I think I played this Super Nintendo version through, but I want to play it through. So anyway, this is the story. They took it from Blackthorn. So they're gonna probably send him to Earth to protect him from Keldor, aka Skeletor. Because here's a big spoiler, warning. Maybe skip a little bit, but Keldor is hinted at, but also in the 2002, it's actually they built it, before that they only hinted at it in the mini comics that Skeletor originally was called Keldor, and he didn't have the skeleton face, and he was this human, like humanoid race. He looked like a dark elf. He had this blue skin and pointy ears, but he had a human face. And in the 2002 series, they actually adopt this where his face gets burned by acid, and that's how he becomes Skeletor. And he's actually the half brother of King Randor, so he's technically Adam's uncle. Now, they're probably going to go with that because that's the most accepted lore. And again, I told you about the original. In the original canon and the mini comics early on, he was an interdimensional invader. But this is the more accepted canon now. So the point is that they're gonna have these two human characters, or just these normal Joes. It's gonna be the black independent woman who needs no man. Now, to be fair, again, they had this, but back in the 80s, uh, they had three quote unquote normie people, that actually a lot of focus was put on them, to be fair. Because they had Rumper Duncan McNeil as the boyfriend, then they have Courtney Cox as the girlfriend, you know, and who were like, fish out of water, and they eventually even get accidentally teleported to Eternia because they're like fighting and they're in the thing, whatever. And but don't care about them. They're just generic teens, whatever. 80s. If you've seen generic 80s teens, then whatever. But the real star to me, the real character that I enjoyed, James Tolkien as Detective Hugh Lubitsch. And James Tolkien basically is playing the exact character pretty much like in Back to the Future, like tough, like tough, know-it-all, smart-ass guy, who's bald. But here he's a tough cop. He's not a principal. And sometimes as a kid, I imagine, well, what if, crossovers, this is after uh, Back to the Future, and he somehow lost his job as a principal and became a cop. I know he's a separate character, but basically the same. But he's actually really fun because after when they defeat Skeletor, and he fights. It's pretty fun. He's got a shotgun. He's fighting the stormtroopers, Skeletor troopers, with a shotgun and whatever, and they have lasers and whatever. And in the end, he stays like at Eternia, and he has his own quote unquote Eternia outfit, which is also just loincloth and shit. And because he has like an Eternian chick, because now he's a hero. He's like, well, I'm not gonna go back because I don't get nothing there. I'm nobody there, And that's actually cool. It's again a very 80s thing to do, and it was cool. Anyway, James Tolkien was actually one of my favorite characters from that movie. So, well, here they're gonna do the same thing because they're like, oh, it worked in the old movie, and we don't know how to do anything new, and we're gonna do basically the same thing. Well, almost. The difference is that He-Man now spent, he got to Earth as a 10-year-old, and now he spent 20 years in on Earth. Now, my question is, he'll probably not have the Adam persona. He's gonna have that outfit that you see when he's in that shirt that I showed you, probably in the thing, and that's gonna be yeah. So the movie is gonna be hugely part set. A lot. I'm thinking this is how it's gonna start. You're gonna see the opening scene, which might be cool or whatever, and you're gonna have like a younger man at arms, whatever, and so Tila will be probably a kid because they're about the same age, more or less. But although in 2002 I think Tila's a bit older, but the point is that what's gonna happen, the way how it's gonna be, is that he won't have the secret identity. He's just gonna be He-Man or Adam, So which is okay, I guess, because in the old movie that he never was Adam. Like he was Adam called, but he didn't have the identity anymore, or he never did it because the point is that where I don't care that much about that because I get it. It's weird. It's like even worse than with Clark Kent because when Adam, at least in the old cartoon, when he becomes He-Man, he just gains a tan, and less clothed. Um, he doesn't have the glasses. Now in the 2000, because originally it was supposed to be like Shazam or Captain Marvel, where he's a kid and he becomes like a muscular adult. In the 2002 show, they finally did that, which that's why it's a really good show. Um, they could have done it here, but they didn't want to deal with a kid actor because they're hoping this is like a, I don't know, a franchise and possibly even like maybe they'll try a cinematic universe combining the other stuff with that too. Who knows? Although I don't know with Mattel what they would have that they could throw in there. But probably they just want to have they want to have at least a trilogy, right? I mean, no, well, that's no. They could have a cinematic universe, right? Forget it. She-Ra, right? Can't wait for that. Oh my God. Uh, if I mean, we'll hold your horses, son. This movie has to first make $1 billion to be worth for them. For 200 million, they're gonna have another 200 million for advertising, for marketing. So in order to break even, it has to make at least 400 million, 500 million, and then in order to make a real profit, it will have to make the billion. Because they always, for these big budget movies, they always are looking for the billion or close to it at least. You know, then you know if it's gonna get a sequel or not. So, yes. Now I like went all over the place. Now, look, this is all we know so far. But there's another thing, one more thing that I have a problem with this movie, and that is, of course, because they're gonna have these two characters, the two human normie characters, okay? So it's gonna be like a. Let me see here. Let me see here. Come on. I'm gonna find the link again. I'm just too many tabs. Anyway, I know this is really well set up. There's no issues with that. Um, so, um, what don't you see on this cast list? We have, so we're gonna have like a black independent woman because that's the only thing they're. This is the only role that they're being cast for. You know, maybe she's gonna say to Man at Arms something like, "Brother, what's all that gear you're carrying, huh? Independent woman," some shit like that. Girlfriend, and I'm sure she's gonna like throw in some. Oh, look at that Skeletor guy. He reminds me of Trump or something. I don't know, some bullshit. And then they have a guy called Hussein, played by Christian Vonipola. So more than likely a Middle Eastern guy, possibly. Yeah. Yep. So they're gonna be the his amazing friends. It's gonna be bro, where's my car? The first movie is just him going to partying, and he's gonna be the party dude, jock party dude, or something like that. Who knows? And he's gonna be, of course, like some kind of like uh, she might be like the character who tells him like you gotta stop because you got white privilege or something. Like who knows? I don't know. They gonna push something like that. Maybe not as much. Maybe now they're maybe more cautious. But in this cast list, there is a missing character, and that is also a thing where I think it's gonna be ruined. And that character is Orko. Now I know what you're gonna say. Well, do we really need Orko? He's gay, bro. Whatever. I I don't. Orko is at this point he's an integral part of Masters of the Universe. And with all that money flowing, don't tell me you cannot just do CGI Orko and have some guy voice him. Okay? Don't tell me you can't do that. Okay? I'm not happy with this movie. This movie, if we have seen what they've done with the Masters of the Universe license. For a long time there was nothing. There was just new toys being made. Then they made the Kevin Smith bullshit thing. See, the fans, there were certain fans that I know there's certain ones that liked the show, whatever. There's people with bad tastes in the world. You just gotta have to accept that. But the thing is that they were just happy because new toys were being made, and also that was what is called the Masterverse toys, because that's like its own like verse now. Because again, it's their own fan fiction. You know, it's supposed to be a direct continuation of the cartoon, but it's its own thing, and I'm not going to accept that. You know, I'm just not going to accept it. Go fuck yourself. Um, and they were just excited because I'll give them that. At least with that toy line, is that they changed the proportions to make them more realistic. Where they look, the size, they're more like size and proportion wise, like a 6-inch figure, and they are closer to also in their proportions to like a generic action figure, like a Marvel or DC action figure, right? Which is fine. And there's a couple of toys that even look good, right? And there was also in that style they had like the Master of the Universe movie character and whatever. So, but it's still a fucking slap in the face. And then they had the really weird looking, really like exaggerated features like that. It was a He-Man cartoon targeted for kids, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy with that one. Look, I get it. It's for kids. That one I'm not. I guess I don't have that much a problem with because like I'm saying, well, they have it's their own thing. It's like he looks like a gorilla, you know, and the sword is horrible. Uh, and it's just bad. It's not for me, but that's okay. I'm never gonna watch it. Maybe once out of morbid curiosity. If I do, I will review it. You know, but um, the one thing I think they did good is like it's just uber redesigned, where it's like unrecognizable, where they're like it's just bad. It's just bad. At least the Revelation cartoon actually tried to look like the how He-Man is supposed to look like. I'm also for if you want to make new characters, that's fine, but He-Man has a very specific look. The 2002 one did some changes, but originally it still looks like He-Man. You know, they changed some things, and they actually changed the changes they made it overall for the better. Just with He-Man itself, my only issues are the armor. I don't like the armor look that much. I think that got changed. I don't mind that the loincloth became more like a loincloth, like a big furry loincloth. And my main issue, I don't like the sword that much. I think the sword is too big. It's like kind of sort of looks like the old one. I just feel the old one is such a cool design. I know there's some people who don't like that, but like the He-Man sword, whatever. But I think that's actually one of the cooler features. I did like, however, Skeletor's sword because it kind of hinted at the old dual blade, how you could combine both swords into one. So yeah, I am not. I didn't like the 2021 show, but it's a CGI mess slop for kids. You know, like it's not for me. It's fine. It's supposed to appeal to alpha kids. So the Shira show was like just straight up like left wing propaganda to show. So I refuse to watch that. And it's like Steven Universe too. So I'm sorry, but no, no. And also apparently there was no probably they didn't even mention Eternia or He-Man or anything. And good God, I don't know how they would redesign them. Like good God, like what they made to Bo. That was a crime against humanity. But Shira and every and oh, she's lesbian for Catra. Oh, because fan fiction, because that's all they can do. They can just it's the woke skinwalkers. It's always them, right? So I'm done here with this. I've milked this dry from what we've seen. If the trailer comes out, eventually I see the movie. If more info comes out, more images, I'll talk about it. But I'll wait till I like collects up because right now we had the leaked footage, and I think quote unquote leaked. They just do it to build hype or anti-hype or whatever. The point is that it's supposed to come out in 2026, so this is not a long way, not that long ways away. Okay. I haven't seen yet Captain America: Brave New World or whatever it's called. I might just wait till it's on Disney Plus. I don't know if I want to go to the movie theater for that because it's like I want to watch it in English, and they do show it in some theaters, but only in specific times and in the nearby cities. So I'm like, eh. And I'm not that curious because it's Harrison Ford, Red Hulk. Do I really care? Not really anymore. I think Hollywood is trying to they're trying hardcore to switch their big franchise movie making stuff. They want to switch away from superheroes eventually to like toys and or video games, you know. And with the Sonic movies and the Sonic has broken, I think, the mold of bad video game. Although there we got Borderlands, but then again, I don't care about Borderlands, so it's like and yeah, like Borderlands was also whatever. It just showed how we'll see if they get their shit together. But if Sega, like I've heard rumors of them working on a Zelda movie that could be really cool, but I really hope they don't ruin it, because it's like a American production but with the input obviously with Nintendo is going to hold a tight leash for and Zelda is this other big franchise other than Mario. So Sega has some projects in the works. Again, this is like video game stuff. Toy adaptations has been around now for a while. They did the G.I. Joes, they did the Transformers. Transformers had at least monetary success. G.I. Joe was so-so. The Snake Eyes reboot was retarded. I haven't seen it, but it looks bad. I think they're now, because in the comics they're doing like a shared universe thing. So now I think in the movie they actually done it with the second or the first movie where they teased it, and the second one they're doing it. So they're doing their own cinematic universe there, but they have a couple of more IPs that they could like combine, which they wanted to originally, but like Visionaries and whatever. So the point is that um, Masters of the Universe is going to be interesting because that's like the only like big 80s franchise from the big three that hasn't gotten, like they have been trying to get a movie. Um, haven't even gotten a cartoon until recently. They had the Kevin Smith Abomination and they had the CGI Gorilla Abomination. So it's like whatever. We'll see what they'll do with that, but I think this is what I'm gonna think is gonna happen. The movie's gonna suck. The question is just how much, you know. Um, Now, okay, I can't say 100% obviously. There's a chance it might be decent or even good. Who knows? But just from the signs, this is Beastcast betting right now. I'm just quit, not actually betting, but I'm putting my quote unquote fictional money on that the movie's gonna be a flop because it's gonna alienate the fans of He-Man because it could be a huge hit, and I'm okay with somewhat redesigning and stuff, but this is too much. And also changing the story where it has to be on Earth. We don't need this. Why does every like fiction? Why do we have to have this? Like no. And it's probably gonna flop. I'm gonna say this. It's probably gonna flop hard. It's gonna kill the future for potential movies. Um, it's also gonna stop other productions with He-Man, I think. And they're just gonna continue making toys, and the old farts that are now in their 40s, 50s, or maybe even 60s, probably the old farts that are now in their 40s and 50s, that enjoyed He-Man in the past, will just continue to enjoy it as collecting the toys, you know. And that's gonna be it. It's gonna be a fart in the wind. People will like point out, oh, do you remember this bad attempt at making stuff? Do you remember the Snake Eye movie? No, nobody remembers that. Nobody cares. I haven't even watched it. I forgot already about it. If I would have watched it, I would have forgot. I might have seen it, dude. I might have seen it, and my mind might have erased it because it was so bad, you know. And I'm not even the biggest GI Joe fan, but GI Joe is actually a really cool thing, like a really cool franchise. That anyway, this is again a whole different story. So, okay, I'm gonna now remove all these fucking tabs because I said what I could say about this. I mean, it's almost 2 hours, and I talked about a not even a trailer, just leaked images, the cast, the basic plot synopsis, and that's all. Now, again, I could be wrong. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. It's I don't know exactly when it comes out in 2020 because it could be a little bit over a year, but um, because remember when they did, for example, the Power Rangers reboot and that failed. Now they're like trying to do it again. What I'm curious about, at least with that, is that because they tried to be like darker and grittier with Power Rangers, which was a bad choice. Like Power Rangers, I know there's some people they want to have an ultra violent Power Rangers where the Green Ranger just like kills everybody and has sex with the Pink Ranger, and I'm like, I'm not even that big of a like when I was a kid, I was too old for Power Rangers, right? When Power Rangers came out, I was too old, but I did appreciate the giant monster fights. But back then, I would have never admitted it. We only watched it to laugh at it, how cringy it is back then. But I can enjoy it now for what it is. It's like a Silver Age or Golden Age comic, especially a Silver Age comic. The point is that what will they do? Will they? And but that is even lesser known about the reboot. So this is a different thing. Anyway, talked about the the Masters of the Universe movie. And yeah, okay. One more thing to the Masters Universe. I'll give them one more thing that look good. The Power Sword actually looks like the Power Sword. I appreciate it. Okay. Um, so that's maybe the one thing I will say that okay, that looks cool. That's how the Power Sword should look like. Um, so I don't have a problem with that. But it's funny how the first time we see it, it's in the hand of a chubby female cop, because she took it away. This is how I feel like a lot of men with their toys and their franchises and whatever, even their sports, with everything that they like. It's you have a Karen come in and say, basically this is the equivalent, okay? The woke skinwalkers to me. It is when you're a kid, you're playing with the boys with your toys. Maybe you have a sister or like a friend, and she says, I want to play too, but I don't like this. I'm going to change this now. Barbie is now the most powerful character. And then you say, no, this is lame. But then your mom comes in and tells you, you have to like this now. If you don't like this, you're a bad boy. That's how I feel like it. This image represents our franchises, especially for the man children of the world, being ruined. At least the new iterations where they potentially could be good, and ruining it also for a new generation that might have liked it, and just being ruined. Yeah, because they're gonna alienate the old fans, quote unquote potential new fans. I don't know if kids would like this because it's not a 5-second TikTok video, so featuring Skibbity Toilet as the main villain. But even if they probably would just say they would say an image, see an image, and just say "lol, cringe" or whatever they say now. Roll, zip, 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 zip. I just made random sounds, but this is probably the slang of today because I'm an old man. Yeah. So that was I said. The sword looked pretty cool. That's the one thing I can say. Um. Anyway, we have. I'll talk more about it as it comes out, but I gotta move on because it's getting late. So we are heading to the next segment. And which segment is that? It is your favorite segment. It is.
Step right up to the Beast Mail Show, where comments and discussions are in full flow. Grab a seat, take a load off your feet, let the jazz take you on a wild beat. Ooh. Bebop, doo-wop, swinging high and low. At Beast Mail, we're ready to go. Join the fun, come on and play in the jazz-filled world of Beastman.
Yes, it's Beast Mail time. Okay, so I've been ranting for fucking forever. I always think I can contain my autism, but it's like fucking 2 hours, so whatever. Yeah. So we have two comments. Tomcat wrote me, but it was more of a personal thing, so I don't want to read that because as he didn't really mention. Maybe. Well, let me see here. Did Tomcat actually mention anything from the show? Let me see here. Okay, here's something. He said, I listened to your podcast, or like 90% of it, and I have to say, I'm not really. This is from Tomcat X. I'm not really excited about James Gunn's new DC universe. And he complains also the same thing as the DEI bullshit. And it killed his interest in the stuff. And then he goes on with that. Yeah. So then we have another comment, very short one, short and sweet. I appreciate any kind of input from Critical Failure, woke skinwalkers. Apparently, people like that. And then here is that's it. Woke skinwalkers. I don't know, kind of like it. So Death Adder wrote, "I laughed every time you said woke skinwalker. I've never heard that term before. Lol." Yeah, thanks. I think I just came up with it. Not quite alone. Again, there's the image that came to mind. Maybe somebody else has sent it already. Could be, but anyway. He says, the AI music you used both slaps and cooks. I don't know what these words mean, but I think it's a good thing. I know the dangers of AI on the human race, but for now, I've had so much fun making AI music and generating degenerate and/or hilarious images that I love it. Your idea of an AI filter for correcting Marvel movies is great. I hope that happens one day, dude. We need it for all movies, okay? Maybe this Masters of the Universe movie will be great if I can like replace actors. Come on, technology, Elon Musk, make it happen. Anyway, or whoever, I don't care. Amazon guy, fucking Bill Gates make it. Oh, Bill Gates probably not. So, I don't want Bill Gates anywhere near that. Anyway, no one here is going to think you're racist. That term lost all meaning several years ago. Anyways, that's true. To make matters worse, they aren't even using attractive black actresses. Yeah, you see, it would make it, I guess, somewhat better. Mary Jane is portrayed by Zendaya, who looks like former president of Nintendo, Reggie Fils-Aimé. Or Aimé. I don't think I'd have complained as hard if they used 20-year-old Stacey Dash or something. Stacey Dash was very attractive, I gotta agree. I'm also sick of seeing Pedro Pascal. You have to say it like this. Pedro Pascal. Oscar-winning actor Pedro Pascal. Sorry. And I have like Tourette's when this comes to these people. I'm also sick of seeing Pedro Pascal's face. Yes, let's cast a 55-year-old Hispanic man with Asperger's syndrome as Mr. Fantastic. Great idea, lads. Sadly, there are a lot of West Coast Redditors who still enjoy this kind of slop. I'm waiting to make my own AI movie one day and just watch that, to be honest. To the death mug of doom. Anyway, Death Adder, thank you for the great comment, and also CF and Tomcat too. You can comment below. I will put a invite to the next round, unless like maybe I'll just wait because I think Death Adder has been there, but. If you guys want the to check out the Discord to do the comments and whatever, I think Death Adder was there, but whatever. Just tell me so. If not, that's cool too. I don't really care. Comments are comments. It's just text written. wherever it is. You could send it to me in SMS messages if I would have put my telephone number, whatever. Anyway, so I can't agree more. I agree that it's not just the race swapping. And let me get this straight here. I hated it that in Spawn, Terry Fitzgerald was whitewashed. Okay, I don't like it when it's done in either form. You know. And if you are worried that there's too many white people in some kind of property, and then maybe you should make your own property or also adopt something that has that is, as they say, as the people say today, diverse. You know, there's actually plenty of cool comics and other stories that have diverse characters. Static Shock, for example, was from his own universe originally, which was all about that, and it was a universe that again DC bought up and then added the characters to their universe, which they do a lot. Marvel does that too. Anyway, it's basically like a corporate thing at this point, a multiverse corporation. Anyway, yes, I agree with Pedro Pascal. He is a turd burglar, as I said, probably one of the biggest turd burglars right now. I can't stand Zendaya. I agree with that. I mean, Stacey Dash. I've checked out how she looks like now. She still looks good, I gotta say. And she's like in her 50s at least. See, when you mention Stacey Dash, I'm like Stacey Dash, and I think, oh, it's the Clueless chick. I got you. Yeah. CSI crime scene investigation, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, slaps and cooks. I guess these are words now that people use. If you make in full I have seen some of your AI slop Death Adder, and I approve. Let me see. Let me check out the Death Adder cinematic universe, which is still tied to the next round, the Mondo Roundverse, including with the Emerald Mondo Roundverse, as I like to have it like the full tism. But Death Adder is like he's his own greatness. So let's not diminish anything about Death Adder. So view all. There we go. I think that's the one. Okay, yeah. 12 days ago. So there's stuff definitely I gotta catch up on the Death Adder cinematic universe. But anyway, I am. Thanks for the comment. And yeah, if you make a full AI movie, I'll watch it. I've seen some of your AI like scenes with the AI. There's some really interesting things you can do with AI now. Now, as much as I have a problem with AI and AI artists is weird and it's a lot of times not very good. I know it has developed and it's become better. AI video I find interesting. Obviously AI music. Do I think it's real art? No, but it can bring ideas that can create art. Sometimes the AI squishes together some things that are cool because obviously it takes things from it recognizes your thing and it makes something some kind of a squishes crap together to make something that is similar to what you said. So I can't completely be like, oh, I'm anti-AI because like there's some cool things it does, and I think that if people use AI art to like then, hey, this is a cool idea, I'll draw it myself, or I'll modify it till it's, I can even accept that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is not about AI because people have talked a million things about AI. Who cares? But thanks for your comments, guys. Here's my new question. Okay, for all you fellow Beastians, this is question of the beast, as I used to do. Question of the beast. Since they're going back to 80s cartoons to adopt, is there a more obscure 80s cartoon that they should make into live action? Now, you can only say one, and I'll be also nice. I'll say one because I could like list a couple. Um, but I'm gonna say one, and I think it could be really good if they do it right. And it would also make woke people because it has diverse characters in it. The cartoon that I'm talking about is actually kind of similar to He-Man, but actually it it was created before He-Man, and that's Thundar the Barbarian. Thundar the Barbarian, as you know, lives on post-apocalyptic Earth, where he has to fight uh, wizards with their magic and super science and whatever. And he has the Fabulous Sun Sword, which is like a lightsaber. And he has Ukla de Mok and another chick who is. I thought oh, she's a Latina, but she's actually an Asian woman who is the wizard and also the smartest in the bunch. Then again, you're competing with a barbarian who has intelligence as a dump stab and basically Chewbacca. But it's a great show. I think this would be great in live action. I would go at that one. I would go more dark and gritty. Keep the character designs like they are. Obviously you can make them fur and whatever and stuff, but have where Thunder actually kills. That would be fucking amazing. Now I could list other cartoons, but I'm gonna put my thing. They should adopt Thundar the Barbarian. They won't because it wasn't that big of a hit. It had only a season. It had only 20 something episodes. I think it was two seasons with like, and in total it's like 20 something episodes. It had a short-lived toy line, but it never it was released a year before, maybe even 2 years, but at least a year before He-Man, Master of the Universe, and the setting is more like it's a post-apocalyptic setting. So if you want to have your Earth moments where they said, "I wonder what they did with that," and they use a Coke can or whatever, or like a toothbrush to like I don't know, clean their asshole or whatever. I don't know. You could do that. Now, I think Thunder the Barbarian would be great, but they're gonna look at it. Well, I would be even hyped for a new cartoon, you know, but like a darker and grittier cartoon, but a well animated one. Um, that would be cool. Anyway, that's what I think. Thunder the Barbarian. Now, what is your cartoon? Now, remember, um, let's expand it a bit, okay? Because maybe somebody is like, it can be either an older or a newer-ish cartoon. I'm fine with that, but I would like to stick to the 80s cartoons. 90s cartoons is fine. You know what? I'm not going to be a stickler. Say whatever cartoon. Um, anyway, what cartoon should they adopt in live action? Or, no, fuck it. I say it again. Has to be an 80s cartoon. Okay, maybe a 90s one. 80s or 90s. That's it. I'm going to put my foot down. Anyway, stuff is falling down from my table. So, on the desk. So that was the comments. And I got to finish here because it's like I have to render this stuff. And I have to get this. It's 2 hours, 18 minutes so far. So, I'm going to just one more question for you guys. I had the question of the beast, but just one more question. Um, yeah, for topics wise. Okay, so just quick, I'm gonna just list a couple of topics. Is there anything I should focus on? Whatever. I have a couple of ideas. So I have, of course, the Marvel movies, including the Wolverine and Deadpool. Is there some of the really bad ones that I should review? Whatever that I haven't, because the last phase, starting with after everything after Infinity War was like really bad, or just at least semi bad, below average. The Disney Plus shows that are really bad too. I have actually watched them. I know I guess a masochist. Most of them are bad. There's a couple of good things here and there with some of them, but they're just bad. The Netflix shows are superior. I don't know about the other ones. I don't even know if they're canon. But even honestly, Agents of Shield is better. And Agents of Shield is a lot of hit and miss, mostly misses. Although, anyway, I could talk about DC stuff because I have finally finished The Flash. Now I haven't finished all of the Flaro or Arrowverse because there is Black Lightning, which I did finish the first season, but it took me forever because it's I could talk about that And I don't think I'll finish Batwoman because I got to the 10th episode where they had the Crisis crossover. Um, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. That's like I never care. Like the Batwoman character, that version, the lesbian Batwoman character was like not something I ever liked or cared for. I mean, it's like okay, it's another female Batman. Who cares? Um, anyway, it's. Ugh. But I could talk about what I mean, what can I say? It's shit. It's woke shit. It's garbage. Um, what else is there to say? But yeah, I could talk about the CW shows. I could talk about other things too. I've been watching some things like what I've been watching. I could gaming wise, I've been playing what surprise older games. I haven't played for a while anything, and then I finished RoboCop Rogue City. I could talk about that. Um, yeah, so these are some of the topics I'm thinking about. If you have ideas for topics, you have listed some things already. CF in one of the previous episodes said I should play an Amiga game and talk about that. That could be a cool idea. Although without visuals, I think it could still work. Because I don't want to do too much video editing. I still want to do some on the Gaming Beast channel, but I'm not sure quite what. I have other focus now. I am working on a comic book, so this is like kind of first, not kind of announcement, but it's not ready yet to be shown. Um, but if there is, you'll know here first. So this is kind of like an official, early bird special. Anyway, I'm rambling now. So these are some of the topics. If you have other topics in mind, list them. And yeah, for all the fellow Beastians, Death Adder, Tomcat X, CF, and everybody else who has listened, of course, all the good friends, Kaizi, Sendu, of course, of Emerald Rangers, good friend of the show. And I'm happy also. I like this. It's posted, and I don't mind that it's on the Emerald Rangers. It's a good site. And also, of course, Six Celestial Fury, the only person to have a beast point. And there's like, you know what? I think I made my own cryptocurrency that nobody wants, Beast Point. You can't even download it. It is stored in the mind of Swingle. There you go. Talk about rarity, right? Doesn't mean it's valuable, but it's valuable to us. It matters to us, damn it. Anyway, this is it. And yeah, guys, for the Death Mug of Doom.
I heard they're making a He-Man movie. No one's sure what the plot is, but they're more woke than a bulldog raised on hotcakes and sausage. Maybe it'll have Video Robo or web store, flying motorcycle or a jet boat. Or maybe he'll be a feminist like PC Principal with a power sword made of recycled Venmo. Maybe he'll be a down low, power bottom, Adam's apple, revolution. With a power, wow, that's awful. Rated R, skip casting. Maybe they're acting out a movie based on the cartoon, based on the action figures, based on the comics, or a very serious new backstory loosely based on the original series, barely a movie, and yet it's on VHS next Christmas. I got a brother and a best friend. We used to have epic battles in the basement. They're gonna ruin it like Star Wars and Saved by the Bell. Yep. It's happening. Well, if it's about equality, you know who they call up. Dipshits in cubicles, swimming in Starbucks. The kind of people who clap after an airplane touchdown. It doesn't matter that captain went all out, but they're cheering. Yup, the word is out. There's never been an LGBTQ cougar in stunner film. I could be wrong, and that's who they want. No, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to make an alpha male movie, but they want a twist. I just think it's kind of funny that they're willing to do a whole different thing with the property than what made it cool. Sorta like redubbing the Dukes of Hazzard and putting it on BET, pretending there wasn't that irreverent energy, only without the sarcastic prophecy. They can fail their way into $1 million paydays over and over, resetting life in 10 new ways. But this time, for Mark marketing purposes, they're making a painless, powerless, phony-ass, plug-pulling, perilous, pointless movie on God. Some poor boy's gonna coach him up first chance he gets. It's gonna take a while until it sticks, and it'll take a while for them to hear this, because ever in a best fan, the Looney Base don't bill. I got a brother and a best friend, maybe we're acting and a movie. I had a brother and a best friend, who had a body and a best friend. We used to have a big best friend, we used to have a big best friend. You don't ever in home, but got a brother and a best friend. We used to have epic battles in the basement. They're gonna ruin it like Star Wars and Saved by the Bell. Yup, it's happening. Well, if it's about equality, you know who they call up. Dipshits in cubicles swimming in Starbucks. The kind of people who clap after an airplane touchdown. It doesn't matter, that captain went all out, but they're cheering. Yup, the word is out. Yup, the word is out. There's never been an LGBTQ cougar and stunner film. I could be wrong, and that's who they want. No, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to make an alpha male movie, but they want a twist. I just think it's kind of funny that they're willing to do a whole different thing with the property than what made it cool. Sorta like redubbing the Dukes of Hazzard and putting it on BET, pretending there wasn't that irreverent energy, only without the sarcastic prophecy. They can fail their way into $1 million paydays over and over, resetting life in 10 new ways, then new ways, but this time for marketing purposes, they're making a painless palette.